What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lambo Place podcast, episode number 19. It is UFC Columbus. I will be joined by my co-host, and we have a special guest today. Should be a fun card. We have 13 fights. And if it's the first time you've been on this show, it is basically we give you plus 300 prop bet plays or better on each and every fight. So it's plus 300 or better. Sometimes it's money line. Actually, I shouldn't say prop bets because sometimes it is money lines, but for the most part, it is props, and it's a banger of a show. So without further ado, we got a lot of fights to go through. I do want to start it pretty quick, but let me go out to chat. Mushrooms in the house like usual. Dab Father, what's up? Papa Chuck is in here, and Lou. Thank you, Lou. Thank you guys for being in here. But let me bring in my guest. My first guest here is my co-host. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Tim. What's up, buddy? Are you ready for this card?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited for this one. Can't wait.
You got some big Lambo plays for the people in chat today?
Yes, got some good ones.
Awesome. Like usual, Tim has those Lambo plays. And then our special guest is part of the Club and Sub podcast. It is Luke. What's up, Luke? Nice having you. Are you ready for this card?
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked for the show. I love the format. Try to get to it when I can. Obviously, I'm not the biggest prop guy in the world necessarily, but definitely did a lot of prep to come on this show. So I think we can give some winners out to the people.
Awesome. I appreciate it. I think the people in chat are going to appreciate it. And then you're teasing people with, 1,001 plays. Like they're all over this kind of stuff. So we love having you. Thanks for joining us. But without further ado, we have 13 fights to go through. So we will start off with the first fight of the night. It is Luis Saldana going up against Bruno Souza. Tim, what do you got here for us?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a close fight. Different styles. Guy kind of starts off early with Saldana, kind of dangerous, slows down a little bit depending on who's fighting. Usually does slow down, though. And the karate style on the other side of Souza kind of is really optically very tough to bet on. But so I like to go with the split decision on this one, as usual. I'm not going to do it all the time, but I've got a few in this card. I think the fight to end in split decision is 4-1 on DK, and if you wanted to pick a side, it's 8-1 on either side. I don't really want to take a pick on either side. I usually do, but a really close fight. If I had gunned ahead, I would pick Saldana, but I'm just going to go fight to win, fight to be decided by split decision at 4-1.
Awesome. I thought about that too. Honestly, I thought long and hard about that, but I went with something else. Luke, what do you got here for us for your first Lambo play of the year?
Yeah, I guess I was being a little sneaky with it, but maybe not. But yeah, I'm going Saldana via split at plus 900. Tim kind of talked about it. Both guys don't really wrestle, more tepid outside base strikers. You obviously have Souza coming from that karate background. Just by that nature, you're often going to get close fights, especially considering that Souza is not much of a finisher. He's not a historic power threat. Saldana obviously is, but we also saw Souza take on Melsik Bogdasarian in his last outing, who hits like an absolute truck. I was actually on Bogdasarian by knockout in that fight, did not come through. I think at like plus 200 or plus 250. So in general, for him to not to be like, Mr. completely recency bias here, but if a guy like Bogdasarian can't go out there and like, get him out of there, or at least, put it on him at like an overt consistent pace where, he's significantly hurting him. Probably a close fight based on the style dynamic. I lean Saldana just more for optics and power because I do think he hits harder. So I think it could just come down to kind of the moments in the fight. So Saldana by split at plus 900 is my Lambo for this one.
Awesome. So we got two split decisions already. I had actually written down split decision, but I changed my mind. I actually watched the weigh-ins, and the last guy on the scale was Saldana. He was sweating up a storm. I'm sure he had to cut some weight before he got on that scale. The other thing I did notice is Souza was in great shape, probably the best he's been in his career on the scales. What I will say is Saldana slows down a lot in fights. You see it in the last fight. He got hurt with like a jab to the body in his last fight. You know, the one thing about this guy is he does throw everything into his kicks, and he throws a lot of power into his strikes early, and that's part of why I guess this guy gasses later in the fight. And the one thing I will say with Souza, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of power. He's not a big finisher, but he does have very good cardio. He did come in on short notice last fight, and he was still there in the third round, and might have even won that third round in that fight. So for me, I'm going with Souza round 3 plus 1900. I just don't like the look I see from Saldana. He slows down a lot. And this is a guy in Souza. Like I said, he's not a big finisher, but I think he's going to outpace him. He's going to come forward in the third round. I think he's going to win that third round pretty easily, to be honest. And like I said, I do think it's a close fight, but I love that plus 1900 on round 3 for Souza. So I'm going with the plus 1900 round 3 prop on Bruno Souza. Moving on, we will move on to fight number 2. It is David Dvorak going up against Matthias Nikolau. We'll kick this one off to you, Luke. What do you got here?
Yeah, this is actually kind of my one pass one of the entire card. I was scaling through everything over plus 300. Honestly, there's not much I like. I think the fight hits the cards. I think it's another competitive fight. So I guess if you wanted to go maybe some of the split route on that, yeah, I guess you maybe could. But honestly, there really is not much sticking out here for me in terms of value.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with a lot of what you said. I think it's going to be a close fight. And historically, like looking at Nikolau, he does go to decision a decent amount. He has a couple of splits on his record already. So I do agree with you on that sense. But the one line that kind of stuck out to me, and, I'm not saying David Dvorak is like, bad grappler or anything. He's a good grappler. But I do think Matthias Nikolau is the better grappler. Dvorak has been taken down. I think he got taken down 3 times by Bruno Silva. If Nikolau gets this fight to the ground, I do think he's the better submission grappler here. I'm getting this plus 600 number that's kind of sticking out to me. And I'm hoping basically that Matthias Nikolau does grapple and doesn't fall in love with his striking. That lately, I guess he's fallen in love with striking. But plus 600, I'm gonna take it. I think it has some value on there. What do you have, Tim?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't, sometimes Luke passed, and sometimes I'll take 2 shots on a Lambo. Like I see this fight going a couple different ways. Like I see Luke's side mainly. I'm more in agreement that the fight goes to decision, and like I parlayed the first 2 fights to go to decision, so I'm more on that side. But part of me keeps thinking like that Dvorak might actually connect on a punch, and Nikolau has been knocked out twice. I do think it's possible. 8.5 to 1 on FanDuel seems a little bit wide to me, but I like the split decision prop more. And again, I wouldn't, if I'm leaning aside, it would be Dvorak by split, but I'm going to go fight to be by split, another split decision at 4.25 to 1. Just again, a really close fight, depending on how the judges see it and who's doing what. I just think it could be really greasy either way. That's the way I kind of lean.
Yeah, I mean, I played this, to be honest, I played the split decision here because I do think it's going to be an extremely close fight. But yeah, I mean, for my Lambo, I also played that submission prop because I do think it might be live. But moving on, we will move on to fight number 3. It is Jennifer Maia going up against Manon Fiorot. So this is kind of weird because there's some stuff being rolled around on Twitter, on the internet, that something's wrong with Manon Fiorot. I don't know if it's her leg. I don't know if it's her back. I don't know. Did you guys watch the weigh-ins at all? Yeah. So, I mean, they're saying it could be cramps. I don't know. She did look very awkward stepping onto the scale. If you guys noticed that, it's kind of really gingerly stepping onto the scale. I don't know what it was, to be honest.
Even when she was kind of walking up those steps, Mike, not to cut you off, but if I'm to take a little narrative there, even when she was kind of walking up the steps to get onto the stage, she's kind of like hunched over. Yeah, I don't know. I think there might be some wonkiness there.
there definitely is something. Whether it be, like I said, it could be cramps. I guess someone was saying that, she could have got a cramp or something. I don't know. But based on that, what I saw in weigh-ins, I'm going to have to play the submission prop on Maia at plus 1,800. I just have to do it. I don't know how mobile she's going to be if she has like a bad back. Like how are you going to defend takedowns? I mean, it's not going to be good. I'll say that. But, I just had to stab at it. Like Maia has good submission. I guess she's a good BJJ artist, but she doesn't use it. She doesn't fucking wrestle. She's pretty much a clown when it gets inside the ring because, watching that last fight against, Caitlin Chukagian, I think she took up until the third round to fucking land it, even shoot for a damn takedown. So I don't know what she's going to do, but if Fiorot is not mobile, I mean, it's going to be there for her. So honestly, plus 1,800 is a huge line. And if someone's injured, like I see they are, but I'm going to have to stab at it. Tim, what do you got?
Well, I'm glad the screen doesn't go down below because I have so much money on Man and I'm shitting my pants right now after hearing that. This is the first time I've heard that all day, so that's not good. But I'm on Man pretty hard here on the money line. I have I've got a certain just feeling on this because the durability on Maia has been really, really insane. I think this is a fight where it is possible that Manning can get the KO, especially attritionally late. So I don't mind the KO 2-3 on FanDuel at plus 600. I actually did take a shot on that one. So I no narrative on it. Like I feel like, it's really hard to use a great Brazilian jiu-jitsu when you're 10 feet away from somebody standing and not attempting any takedowns. And that's pretty much what Maia does, like every fight. And she's not fast. And she's not particularly very strong. So just, stylistically, it's so hard for her to actually get to what is her best strength, in my opinion. So I've liked betting against her in those situations against the last few fights.
Yeah, full transparency, I have a bet on Fiorot by decision at minus 115. I like her side. I think she dominates. It's just that, my eyes, I saw something. I honestly did. It might be wrong. It might be a cramp. But, we're going with a Lambo play, and if she's hurt, if it's true, it should be live then. Luke, what do you have?
One thing I will say to play more of the narrative game outside of what I'm about to give out, the last girl that I do remember who had some cramping-based issues was Lara Procopio when she fought Casey O'Neill. She got subbed. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to say from a narrative perspective, there you go. But the one I did come up with, I feel horrible about even saying it, but Maia by decision at plus 500. I think it's a tough stylistic matchup for her particularly, but it is a step up in competition for Fiorot nonetheless. The girls dropped 2 fights, Caitlin Chukagian, one to Shevchenko, and then one to Carmouche early. Who wrestles, those are the girls that are beating her. I still do think there are questions on Fiorot, more particularly with her grappling. To your point, Mike, it's kind of hard to trust Maia to come out here and shoot takedowns necessarily, but I do think it's a potential path for her to kind of close the gap in this fight too. And she is a scrappy girl in the pocket, so I think if she can blend those together, maybe mix in some takedowns, I do think there's a possibility that she can squeak something here. Like I said, it's not overtly high percentage, but for a step up in competition, if Fiorot wins this fight, she's a top 3 girl in the division. So Maia by points at plus 500. Am I going to play anything on it personally? Probably not. But if I had to pick something, that's probably what I'd go with.
It's a must in the show that you have to put at least lunch money in every bet that you're saying. I'm just
yes, you must follow it. No, Fiorot is definitely very good. She even showed grappling last fight, right? She landed the takedowns. She looked really good. It's to me, it's just a narrative at this point. I'm playing that Maia line just on strict narrative because otherwise I wouldn't even touch that because I don't even think that's live. So moving on, we will move on to fight number 4. It is Aliscab Khizriev going up against Dennis Tululin. Kick this one off, Tim, and you got to pronounce both guys' names, first and last name, before you give us your play.
Alishkab Khizriev versus I forgot the first guy's name. What's the
Dennis.
Yeah, right. I messed up Dennis.
That was that's the one you should have got automatically. That was the
Dennis Tululin.
Come on, bro.
The easiest one, and he goofs it up. You see that?
I got Tululin and Khizriev. What the hell's wrong with me? I think the fight's gonna be done in round 1, but it's not wild enough. I also think the ground and pound is good on Khizriev's side, so I'm going to go KO 1 at plus 500 and take a shot because his sub game is really is good, but I'm just going to go with the higher number because who wants to minus 125 or plus 150 in this Lambo plays? He ground and pounds, takes him out.
I like it. Luke, what do you got here on the minus 1,000 guy here?
How's that line then?
I don't know. Guy hasn't fought in 4 years, one time, and he's minus.
He's going up weight too, right?
Huh?
He's going up kind of weight too, right?
That guy's. I mean, he didn't look that small in the face-offs, but I mean, they say he's 5'9". I don't think he's 5'9", though. To be honest, when I saw him at
only fought a couple times at 185. He's an undersized middleweight, but yeah,
definitely undersized, yeah.
But yeah, so I'm gonna pivot from Tim just a tad to maybe be a bit more different. But I'm going Khizriev in round 2 at plus 450. Obviously, the dude's historically been just smoking people in the first round. But in watching this Dennis dude, because I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, he's not very good, but he's also a guy who doesn't like necessarily just fold like immediately necessarily. I think he's had like 5 losses in his career, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and he's lost 2 on the cards. So it's not like there's an overt sample of him just getting smoked, in the first. And I think one of the guys, I think it was a Brazilian dude, he fought got to his back, I think early in the fight. And I mean, he still fought hands, like he did decent things. The ref kind of stood him up. Probably he shouldn't have. I think it was off of back mount. Nonetheless, like he doesn't seem like a guy who I think just completely like collapses within 2 minutes necessarily. So I think he might be able to put up at least a bit more resistance to hold on till round 2. And then just that pressure of Khizriev kind of just takes over and he either pounds him out or submits him. So once again, it's just round 2. It's not MOV, but at plus 450, I think that's interesting to maybe extrapolate a little bit on going against the grain of maybe he doesn't kill him, in round 1. You might be able to get some more meat on the bone.
I hope that's the case because I bet both rounds just to kind of hedge it, and so I'm like, if he gets out of round 2, then I'm going to lose both bets. But the round 2 props are absolutely insane on FanDuel. Like you got 18-1 on the KO 2, and you have 750 on the sub 2. So it's pretty insane if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I completely agree with Luke. Like, watching this Tululin guy, like his tape, like. So this is what I'm going to compare. I'm going to compare a guy that's extremely very close to what Khizriev is, and that's Ikram Askarov, right? That guy is basically a similar fighter, grapple heavy, has good hands, Dagestani guy, wrestler, really good prospect. The only person he's lost to is Kazmat, right? That's it. He's got 1 loss on his ledger. It's not a bad loss. And he has, pretty good wins on his ledger too, that guy. But when you look at like this dude, Khizriev, like he's honestly beaten absolutely nobody. He's beaten, Rosamar Paul Harris, who's fucking done, that's the ghost of that guy. And basically he's really beaten no one, right? And he's fought 1 time in 4 years. Okay, now this guy's minus 1,100, minus 1,000. Like I see like Dennis's takedown defense is not that good, but like he doesn't fold like Luke said. And honestly, Tim, I like the round 2 prop a lot more than round 1. I don't think he's going to get finished in round 1. The guy works his way to the cage even when he gets taken down. Like just watching that Ikram fight, right? He took him down early. He works right. He scoots right back to the cage, tries to get up, makes him work. Like Ikram never could like solidify position in the first round. He kept trying to get up. Like Later on, he eventually broke him in the third. But that's why I'm saying I don't see it coming early. But the one line I do like is I don't understand why Khizriev KO is plus 320 here. Like, to me, that makes no sense because the guy has really nasty ground and pound when you watch his tape. And he's got 4 finishes by KO and only 3 by sub. Yet, they're basically saying that Dennis is complete shit on the ground and he gives up subs, basically. That's what they're looking at. Because I don't see why the line is plus 320 compared to a minus number for the sub. So I just took a shot on the plus 320. I think there's value there. It shouldn't be plus 320 in my opinion. So yeah, my Lambo play here is the KO at plus 320. I think you can get it on FanDuel.
I added already, guys, to the round 2. I was doing that while you guys were talking.
I honestly really like that round 2 prop because I think that's when it happens.
It's just crazy. Like, the numbers are just crazy different. So, I mean, that's definitely possible. And
the other thing I do want to mention that I haven't heard anywhere, but I heard an interview with Dennis that was done with him. These guys are buddies and they were sparring. They were training partners before a while back. So they know each other. He kind of knows this guy's tendencies. That is a little bit of value there, because they are buddies. They do know each other. And the other thing is, Dennis has been training at Extreme. So that's the best camp he's ever been in. I'm sure he's gotten probably the best, training of his life. So
do you guys know anybody taking shots on Dennis this week?
I took a shot at him when he was plus 775, to be honest. When the line on BetOnline, it went to like minus 1100 plus 775. I just took a small poke because how could you lose at that line at plus 775 against the guy that's fought once in 4 years? Like, do we even know what this guy, like, is his cardio going to be there? Is he going to die after 1 round? Like, we don't know. So I took a shot on it. But moving on, we will move on to fight number 5. It is Batgiral Dana going up against Chris Gutierrez. I'll kick this one off to you, Luke. What do you got here?
I'm going with Mr. Guapo by split at plus 1,000. 2 of Gutierrez's 5 UFC wins have come via split decision. There is that draw mixed in there as well. So we have seen Gutierrez fight close in a recent sample. There's obviously concern that Gut gets, knocked out here. But if he doesn't, I expect the fight to be extremely competitive. He's a pretty solid point fighting based guy. Not a huge power threat, just kind of works in more of a frustrating base style. So I think that definitely plays when it comes to optics as well, where I can see kind of Gut landing more, kind of playing the back foot, but Dana's coming forward, maybe landing some of the bigger shots. So I think you can see potentially a torn panel of judges of trying to determine who is the more effective striker in this fight that hits the cards too, where it's still like 50-50, I think, in a slight shade to the over. In terms of current odds. So it's not something that's that outlandish in terms of, this fight, is going to finish, especially in my opinion. I think the heavy finish consideration comes in that knockout from Dana, and most likely early. So I actually do think we see this fight hit the cards, and I think it's close. And as a result, I think Gutierrez by split at plus 1,000 is very interesting.
Love the breakdown. I have a bet over 2.5 here. I have a bet on Gutierrez decision here. And I love the split decision, dude. I really do. Gutierrez is the type of fighter that I don't even know how to say it. Like, he's scooting around the cage, leg kicking. He's just a split decision waiting to happen. And guess what? He's got 6 split or majority decisions on his ledger. That should tell you a lot right there. He's got 6 of them in 22 fights. That's almost at a 30% clip. That's crazy to me that he has 6 of them, 6 fucking split decisions in 22 fights. That's crazy. And you're gonna get him now at plus 900 and Batgiral is plus 1,400. I'm all over both of those plays. I think this is gonna be a very close fight. I kind of like the Gutierrez side just based on here's the thing. If this was a smaller ring, I'd favor Batgiral a lot more. But this bigger cage, I think, favors Gutierrez's movement. He's going to have more room to leg kick. So, I agree with you where Batgiral is live for a KO because he has a lot of power. But I think Gutierrez keeps distance well. It's a big ring. He leg kicks well. It's all the good things that are in favor of Gutierrez. So, yeah, I love the split decision. That's what I'm going with. Tim, looks like you're nodding your head left and right.
You guys need to do nothing but rewind what you guys have just said for basically the last 2 minutes, and you know exactly what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I mean, he's defensively responsible, and he's not, he has been knocked out, Gutierrez, that is, and the big cage, all the things that you're saying. I mean, I'm on board with everything. I'm on Gutierrez by points, plus 225. I'm on the split. It got it at 10-1. And then I'm on Dana as well by split, just as a light hedge. But yeah, I agree with everything you guys said.
I love it. All three of us on the split, guys. Run to the window. Hurry up before that line moves. It's going to be going down, down, down.
Yeah, it's just one of those things we talk about every week. It's like, how is a guy that is plus 225 to win by decision, which is his clearly like shortest line, at 10-1 to win by split when he's won, like he's 30% of his fights go to split decision.
Unless he chopped this guy's leg off,
Yeah, it's just crazy that
I think that's the only way. Batgiral has a very good chin. Like he got chin checked by Alating really hard, and he took it pretty well. Like I doubt there's any KO other than the leg kick KOs from Gutierrez's side. But moving on,
I think it's probably one of my favorite ones of everything we're going to run through tonight. I think that one's got some. I think that one's got a lot of meat on the bone.
Oh, 100%. I do agree, 100%. And we're all on the same play, which is crazy. For a Lambo play, for all of us to be on a long shot, plus 900, plus 1400, it's pretty crazy. Moving on, it's fight number 6. It's Sarah McMann going up against Carol Rosa. I will kick this one off. I actually have a bet on Rosa KO round 2, round 3. It's plus 1,000 on FanDuel. McMann, I mean, there's not much to say here. McMahon's 41 years old. She slows down a ton. She's been stopped a ton of times, I believe, in her career. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times out of the 6 wins. She's been stopped mostly by submission, but she did get knocked out by Rousey to the body. She just slows down so much. And I do think actually, Rosa doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but she has power in her hands. Like there's no doubting that. For women's WMMA, she has power in her hands. So you get a slowed down version of a 41-year-old fighter who's probably dead by round 3 if it gets there. You're getting plus 1,000 on the knockout. I'm just afraid she might get a submission, but I think if she's tired, I doubt Rosa's going to go for takedown. She's just going to pound her out. So give me the 2-3 KO at plus 1,000 on Carol Rosa. What do you got, Tim?
I have a lot of violence bets in this fight. I've bet the Sarah McMann sub round 1 at 17-1. I got sub round 1-2 at plus 900. Sub 2 at 23-1 on FanDuel. I think that I'm on these same bets as you with Rosa as well. I got the KO round 2, round 3 at 10-1, and then round 3 in general at 14-1. I do see the potential of sub here for McMann, especially early. There's no way that she's not getting her to ground in round 1. And both the fact that she is shown to be able to sub people that are significantly better on the ground than Rosa, as well as Rosa kind of showing that she can be subbed herself, just makes a 17-1 just insane to me. Kind of like this reminds me a lot of the McKinney versus Ziam 16-1 round 1 sub. Just this totally very similar situation. A guy's somebody's going to go out, gas themselves out in the first round or 2 or round and a half to just go for the kill, and then they'll death gas. So it's just one of those perfect kind of hedge spots that we always love to kind of go at and attack. So I've attacked all of them. I even, for Tajik, I got to throw out the draw potential too, that maybe McMann does control her for the first 2 rounds and get her down, and then just gets mauled but lives in the 3rd round. And so that's even possible. But I'm more on the sub 1 and Rosa KO 2-3 lines. I really, really like those a lot.
All right. What I will say is I won't be shocked that Rosa gets an arm triangle or arm bar in the first round, because McMahon's just been arm barred and triangled 3 or 4 times already. And the 2 wins by submission for Rosa are armbar and triangle. So like if that's a high probability too, to be honest. Luke, what do you got?
I'm going right with you as well, Mike. I'm going Rosa KO 2-3 plus 1,000. Outside of the Gutierrez split, this is easily my most favorite one that I'm giving out on the entire card. I think that it just has the most legs. I think it has the most value at the number. We know McMann isn't exactly known for her heart or cardio, and I think there actually could be, quasi value actually on McMann from a money line perspective, because we do have a ton of question marks on Rosa in that capacity. But there's just, a strong sample that, when McMann faces adversity, it doesn't go particularly well. But the reason why I think this line is the way it is and why it's so crazy is, to your point, Mike, that, she's getting submitted, in her losses in regards to McMann. But I think the context is also being lost within the matchup, because McMahon's going to go out there and shoot a ton of takedowns early on. So I don't think it's really going to be the game plan of Rosa to say, okay, now I just got controlled on the mat for 4 minutes in the first round. Let me try to initiate offensive grappling-based sequences. Like she could, because McMann has looked horrible on bottom. But I do think there is also some context there. She's getting submitted by, solid grapplers and black belts. Pena, black belt. Renault, black belt. Vieira, black belt. So she's getting submitted by more than competent girls. I think Rosa is a black belt now, but still hasn't shown a ton of overt offensive competency. But based on the style dynamic, I think she's just going to want to try to say, get off me, Sarah. I'm just going to stand and try to put pressure on you and box you in those later rounds. And so I think it comes from the non-traditional fold of Sarah McMann on the ground, where it comes from Sarah McMann folding on the feet, because we know that homegirl lands, I think, almost 7 significant strikes per minute. I just don't think Sarah McMann lasts under any sort of that pace. And in the scenario that she does decide to go to the ground with McMann, I think she can just probably open up and posture, and then McMann just takes her ball and goes home. So I think you get ground and pound equity too from this Rosa KO 2-3 at plus 1,000. So this one, I just think there's so many boxes checked as to why this line is absolutely bonkers. I love it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I love the line too. I pretty much hammered it. I don't know, man. It's another one where I think the probability is a lot higher than plus 1,000, to be honest. So,
how did she not knock out Batgiral in round 3 though? That was one of the most painful losses on a prop bet for me.
Yeah, I mean,
that was pain.
I mean, Correa was death gas too, I think, in that third round, if I remember correctly. And
yeah, it could have been stopped. It was pretty bad.
Uncle Wheezy's in here saying, "How dare you say she has no heart, Luke? She's been finished 5 out of 6 losses, man. That's heart. That is heart." Uncle Wheezy's in the house, shaving asses like usual. But we will move on. Fight number 7. It is Neil Magny going up against Max Griffin. Tim, what do you got here?
Yeah, this is kind of crappy one. I'm gonna slightly pass, but I mean, I did bet this because I have a lot of Magny by points, and so I did put a slight bet, like a small bet on Magny by round 3 at 18-1. But my real play would be just Magny by points. It's not a Lambo at all. So this would be my pass of the night. I think he wins a decision that's pretty clear and grimy. Don't necessarily think it's split.
All right, Luke, what do you got for us here?
I'm kind of a bit on an island on this fight as a whole. I actually think Griffin's a pretty live underdog on this card, and I think Griffin by points is plus 450. I think it's important to note that the over 2.5 is sitting at around like roughly 70% implied. So assuming you agree with the odds makers that this fight is going to go the distance, well, it most likely is at a decent clip. And my take is that I do think Magny is the better striker. He's obviously more proven. He's more battle tested, but Griffin's an aggressive guy who's going to throw a lot of strikes. He's got some pop in his hands for sure. Magny has been KO'd a few times, but in general, I don't think it's like overtly transparent. It's more attritional base. So you could maybe see something later from Griffin, but in general, if Griffin does win the fight, I think it's more so on points. And I don't think it can be ignored as well that, Griffin does land over 1.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. Neil Magny only stuffs takedowns at 57%. We've seen Neil Magny get stuck on bottom at times. We've seen Neil Magny get stuck in the clinch at times, especially in that Rocco Martin fight, which made it a lot closer and a lot easier than it probably should have been. But nonetheless, it was a component. So with that, you even factor in when Griffin was 30-27 in his first loss to Colby Covington, obviously taken down 6 times, controlled for like 11 plus minutes or so. That's the only time that Max Griffin has been 30-27. In his other 11 UFC fights, he's won at least one round in his other 11 UFC fights. So it's not like the guy's getting blown out of the water in his losses by any means. And a guy who's more of a point fighting, non-power based style in Neil Magny. I think Griffin can make this fight competitive. So plus 450 by decision is wide to me.
Well, you're not on an island because I'm all over Max Griffin here. I got him at plus 225. I got him by decision at plus 500. Sorry, I got it by decision at plus 450. My Lambo play, they moved the line. My Lambo play is Griffin by decision at plus 500. But I'll tell you a wacky line that I really like that I've played is finish only for Max Griffin is plus 130. I don't understand it because all the finishing upside, in my opinion, is on the Griffin side. Like, dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Magny just throws shots to throw shots. Nothing. He does not sit down on any of his punches. Like the guy, and to top it off, just to top it off, is Max Griffin is extremely durable. Like this, I just don't see at all Neil Magny stopping Max Griffin unless he gets some kind of injury or something. You know, the odds of it happening are very, very tiny. You mentioned something. Max Griffin fights well. He wins rounds. I think he's, the cardio here might be slightly on the Magny side. Yes. But Magny's optics, like he's on the back foot a lot. Like he's circling the cage a lot. Like Max Griffin is more aggressive. That's for sure. He's coming forward more. He's going to have the leg kicks here because he throws a ton of leg kicks. And Magny has those like little sticks for legs. So he's going to be able to leg kick here. And for me, like this decision line plus 500 is just stupid, man. Like I don't understand that either. Like I understand that, Magny throws a lot of volume, but again, the optics of Magny is like, no real power shots. He's constantly on the back foot. I think Griffin's the much stronger guy, to be honest, in the clinch. He can even land the takedown here if he wants him against the cage, if he really goes for it. Cause I mean, he's a pretty strong guy. So for me, the Lambo play is Griffin decision plus 500, but that finish only line plus 130, I think is free money if you want to go take it.
The split, guys, just to let you know, the split is 18-1 on Griffin.
I played it.
I'm going to play that. I'm going to, you know what? I've never done this. I've never done this, Mike. I'm going to actually do this. I'm not going to take the Magny round 3 because I really don't think that's possible. The Max Griffin split decision at 18-1, I'll take that actually. I'm on the other side, but I think that's really, really viable. So I mean, I can't believe I didn't see it.
I think Magny kind of, I know he's winning unanimous decisions because he like pulls away in that third round. And
it's grimy.
Yeah, but he doesn't really does he really dominate fights? Like I don't see him dominating any fights. And then
he purposely makes him uglier and dirtier just to make it like he's not like necessarily better at fighting than these guys that he's beating a lot of times. And he doesn't have the same strengths that they do. And he maximizes his game so well. It's like, he really does. In tennis, we do it all the time. We talk about it all the time. It's like you get these guys that they suck, but they win all the time, and they just make matches ugly and they slow them down. And he does that so well.
I mean, look, M-Bay says Max has 6 knockdowns too. Like he does have power. Like, I mean, he knocked out, who was it with one punch? I mean, it was one punch power. His lights were out. I mean, he does have power in his hands, and he's definitely has the more power between the two. And
how did I miss the split decision prop? Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I played that. I'm all over the Max Griffin side. And honestly, like Luke said, this over 2.5 is such a great play. I have it in a parlay, but I love to play the over 2.5. Yeah. I mean, I guess we're a little bit on the opposite sides, but we see a close fight. Moving on, it's fight number 8. It's Mark Jacasey going up against Vaslav Borschev. Luke, this is on you. What do you got here?
I'm going to go Jacasey by knockout at plus 500. He's just kind of an interesting character. I think the guy's a pretty good athlete. He's a pretty good fighter, but he does hit pretty hard. I know he hasn't finished anybody in recent years, but would highly recommend people go back and check out his KO over Timo Pakalin. It's probably one of the more vicious KOs you can see in recent years, despite Slava's, extensive kickboxing background. His defense still isn't very good. I mean, we saw him dropped by Kennedy St. Louis on the regional scene. Chris Duncan was touching him up early on CS. So, there's that. I think Mark could potentially wrestle him, but Slava's get-up game, I think, has improved in recent years too. So I think we'll largely see a stand-up affair, meaning that I think Mark's going to have opportunities to knock him out. Like I said, he's a fast guy. He's a pretty good athlete. And this is technically a step up for Borschev at the same time. So Jacasey by knockout plus 500 seems a bit wide to me.
I love it. Yeah, I'm on the Jacasey side. I have a bet on him early. But the one prop that I do like a lot, again, this is a prop I like based on what I see from Borschev. You mentioned Kennedy St. Louis hurt this guy. Let's not forget last fight against Dakota Bush. Dakota Bush rocked him 2 different times. Once with a knee, once with a punch in that fight. His chin is questionable to me. One, his cardio does not look good at all. Like, go back and watch that Dakota Bush fight. Like, right before he got the knockout, like, guy was breathing heavy, looked very tired. Go back, on the Chris Duncan fight. I know it was a high-paced fight, but he looked fucking tired as hell. And the one thing I will tell you with Jacasey is after he took the beating from Khizriev in that fight with all those body kicks, with all those, and we know how hard Khizriev kicks, who won that 3rd round? Jacasey won the fucking 3rd round. He kept coming forward, right? Jacasey round 3 here is plus 1,900. Give me that all day and night. I'm not saying Borschev is some bum or anything. Guy's a very, very good striker. This is a huge step up. The guy's cardio is a big, big question mark to me. And, he's fighting a guy that's, that has really good cardio and comes on in that 3rd round, man. Like, it's plus 1,900. I don't understand that line either. So give me Jacasey round 3 plus 1,900. Tim, what do you got?
I'm going to go on the other side on this one. I'm going to take Slava. Been just going on. There's Mbe right there. Preach Mbe. Slava by points at plus 430 on FanDuel. I think the durability is on Jacasey is good. I think the Alves punch was, whether or not it was a big punch, but I think he was a little bit off balance too. But then he just literally ran into his favorite move at first. It wasn't a great decision. Jacasey's kind of flaky up and down wise. He's not the most consistent fighter. So I understand the money line side. I totally get everybody betting the money line. I don't understand that at all, really, where it's been lined at. It's kind of steamed down. But I like the KO it's not enough for KO, but I'll take a shot on a round with it. I think Slava tends to get used to, figure out people by the 2nd round, as he's not necessarily coming out and booming everybody in the 1st round. And when he gets his rhythm and gets his timing, as well as defends a few takedowns, he usually then loses the 1st round and then kills somebody in the 2nd. So I'm going to stick with that pattern. I'm going to go KO2 plus 650. And I also like the points at plus 430 for Slava. I can see both kind of happening in my mind.
All right. So you're on the opposite side. Mbe says he got dropped by a jab. I think he was off balance, but that guillotine, like,
there's a flying knee in there too.
I forgot that. But that knee landed right on the. Definitely, Luke, you made a great point. Like, that knee landed flush on the chin, and then he got him into the guillotine. So, like, Alves, I don't know what people think about him. Like, I think a little higher than what other people think. But that guy is extremely dangerous in the 1st round. He could put anybody out in the 1st round. I'll just say that. Jacasey, I mean, historically, is very durable, man. Like, the guy got hit with absolute baseball bats for 3 damn rounds against Khizriev, and he was still there. Like, is Borschev going to give him something that he hasn't seen? Yes, I guess his hands are a little better than Fiziev's, but like, I mean, Fiziev has a ton of power. He landed huge shots on JKC and he took them pretty well. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. It should be a very good fight. Fight number 9. It's the older men here. It's Alexei Olynyk going up against Ilir Latifi. I will kick this one off. This great damn fight here. I looked for a play here, and what I came up with is Olynyk by split decision plus 2,800, guys. Plus 2,800 in a fight where, I'm going to be straight up honest. I think Olynyk is going to have more volume here. Like, I know Ilir Latifi is going to get takedowns possibly. It's kind of dangerous to play that game with Olynyk, but I'm sure he's going to land some takedowns here. But Latifi is like very low volume. Like, it's just he's not good on the eyes when people are judging him, other than his takedowns. Like, he's really not doing much on the feet, and he's throwing one shot at a time. It's like overhands, they're big power shots, but like he just doesn't have the volume. Meanwhile, like Olynyk, like he does throw, even though it's ugly as hell with his head down, he's literally looking at the floor when he's throwing punches, which is like the worst thing you can do. But I mean, he is throwing, like we saw in the Spivak fight, like somehow that fight went to decision. He does have a split decision win on his ledger against Fabricio Werdum, which is something to look at. So, I mean, you're getting plus 2,800 on Olynyk. I think he's going to have the more volume. Is he going to survive? Possibly. If he does survive, I think the split decision is live, and you're getting a huge number. So give me that plus 2,800 by split decision on Olynyk. Tim, what do you got?
I love it so much. I've already bet that. I bet it on or as soon as I saw the prop, I'm like, I love when they line these fights. They did the same thing with the next fight we're going to talk about, or one of the next fights we're going to talk about as well. Like, isn't this like a viable path for him to win? Just like, especially against Latifi, who just does absolutely nothing, like nothing at all. Like they'll throw like a strike maybe around, like it's ridiculous. Like he's had fights, like multiple fights with under 15. Like here's the thing, his over under strikes on Underdog right now is like 18 strikes. That should tell you all you need to know. Like, if you're going to, they're actually lining it 50-50 that he may go under 18 strikes. So if he lays on him and does nothing, it could be a close fight. If they're standing, like Mike says, it's totally possible that it's just a completely ugly fight, and you're just getting one guy that's throwing 3 times the amount as the other guy and probably landing more too. So I'm on the points for Alexei at 8-1, and I'm on the same one, the 28-1 for DK for split decision on Alexei. Do I think it hits? Like, I think it's possible, honestly. If this could be like the ugliest fight ever. So I mean, yeah, give it to me.
I mean, I think you're gonna have to play the Latifi side too if you're gonna go by split, because I think he's pretty long. He's like plus 1,000. Yeah. He did, and then I didn't mention that his last fight he won a split decision against Tanner Bozer. So
yeah,
like whatever it may be, this might be like 2 guys that gas. I mean, both guys gas pretty hard. Like it's a slop fest. I want nothing to do with the actual betting in this fight, but give me those split decisions. Luke, what do you got here?
Honestly, we're on way too much of the same pages. I thought we were going to be kind of all over the board, but I got Olynyk by points at plus 800 as well. I'm not going to. This isn't one. I'm not trying to get too greasy with the split. I mean, it's plus 800, so I'd rather just take the decision if I was to do it. But that's kind of like my official prediction, not necessarily Olynyk decision per se, but you kind of brought it up, Mike. You got 2 guys who are just sloppy gassers. Like, there's a very real scenario here where both guys are done after 4 minutes, and we see Francis Ngannou, Derek Lewis, Roy Nelson. I mean, this has the perfect concoction of that type of scenario here. And in that scenario, should Alexei Olynyk be plus 800 by points? I don't really think so, because to your point too, Mike, the guy's got overhand rights. He has wrestling, but I think something that's being slightly lost in I shouldn't say lost in the fight, but something maybe people aren't considering enough is that what if Latifi just does not decide to wrestle? right? He might say that, hey, I don't want to fuck with Olynyk on the ground at all, and I'm just not going to wrestle. And you're going to tell me that Olynyk is plus 800 on points when two guys are chucking overhands and have no gas and don't have much left after 4 minutes. It's like, get out of there. I think the fight turns sloppy. I think it does go over. I think it does hit the cards. No confidence at all in Olynyk, but it's like, to your point, guy's going to throw volume at the end of the day. He's going to potentially do things. So, yeah, him by points at plus 100 seems a little dicey, but you're definitely playing the MMA.
Throw some lunch money on the split with us, Luke. Come on, join the team. Join in. The water's warm.
I mean, you know what's crazy is like you're making good points, right? You're saying this fight you think probably goes to decision. You're taking the guy that you believe is going to have more volume. Both guys gas, so we can't say there's any type of like cardio edge really here. One guy, has the better wrestling, but is he going to wrestle against a guy that's really dangerous on the ground? Like, it's all the makings of a freaking fight that goes to decision. It might favor the guy, that has more volume, and you're getting some fucking ridiculous number. Like, I don't understand it either, but I mean, Latifi, I'm not going to say Latifi can't knock him out. He definitely can knock out Olynyk. That's for sure. It's just that he's throwing one shot at a time. It has to be that perfect shot that lands, and he's got to put him completely out. And it's just a lot of things have to go right for Latifi to get the knockout here. But I want to take
and to your point real quick, Mike, though, I mean, you said that, I mean, the guy won a decision over Fabricio Verdum. I mean, I think we can all agree the fact that Fabricio Verdum is a much more skilled fighter than Alexei Olynyk. But when you throw into a cardio dump dynamic, Alexei Olynyk wins a decision over a guy like Fabricio Verdum, who's much more skilled. So that's kind of what my point is here. Like, plus 800, like, come on, bro.
It's crazy. I know it really is. It's too long of I even played the actual over on this fight because I do
like you said, the Latifi at 10-1 for split is
crazy.
Obscene too. I mean, no joke. Like, that is a great line in itself. Like, you have to
play right? Those lines. Land takedowns, lay on top, don't do shit.
Totally. Do nothing
here and there, and win some kind of split decision.
And then and then Olynyk is throwing up sub attempts or trying to maybe even strike from the bottom where he's just trying to hold him the whole time. Totally can see it.
Yeah, I honestly think that the KO line is kind of stupid. Like 175 on Latifi, that's a stupid line, to be honest. But before we go on to the next fight, I just want to thank everybody in chat. 45 people are rocking with us tonight. We are rocking with huge split decision plays, big props. I mean, what else you guys want? Just the only thing left right now is go and make that Lambo appointment, because the Lambo is coming, especially with these parlays that we're going to give you at the end of the night. And one thing I have to say is, Mushroom, do not ask for Lambo parlays. We are going to give them to you. Don't worry. Mbae says, I'm sure Latifi can still can get subbed. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, you're talking about Olynyk. Dude has 6 submissions. I mean, yeah, he can get subbed.
Yeah, you can't sub somebody with no neck. You can't.
That definitely he does not have a neck. Let's get way more thumbs up. Yeah, please, guys, thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, please. It helps out. I'm at 494 last I checked, so I'm 6 away from 500. Please do it for me. I'll appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you. With that being said, we will move on. Fight number 10. It is Askarov going up against Kai Kara-France. Tim, what do you got here?
Yeah, I got Askar by sub here at plus 360. And I just feel like I don't want to go with a round or anything like that. I don't want to play cute with this one at all. I just think he's going to get him down and style on him on the ground pretty much. I think that Steve Kara-France, right? Remember that line from, I think there was the Cody Garbrandt calling him Steve. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The Kai Kara-France is, the one thing I want to ask you guys is, like, where do you guys stand on his hands? Because, like, I don't know if, like, everybody's talking, I'm hearing a bunch of people talk about him like he's like Francis Ngannou of this division and he's got the best hands in this division. I've heard multiple people talk about it this week, and I'm like, before the Cody Garbrandt and Bontarine, when Bontarine was kind of like a little bit slightly gassed after almost getting him in the sub in the first round, and he kind of caught him. Like, and Garbrandt could be knocked out by a pillow fight right now. Like, he didn't knock anybody out for like his last 10 fights. So I'm not sure about, I'm like on the not sure on that his hands are that great. So I like that. I like the sub. I think he gets him down. I don't know what round it's going to happen, but he's going to be all over him on the ground. So I'm just going to take I did bet on the sub by plus 360.
All right. Tim got Askarov sub 360. Luke, what do you got here?
Yeah, I'm on Askarov sub as well for this one, plus 360, 50% sub rate in his W's. And my thing is, like, for him to exceed value on his price tag as a minus 400 favorite, he's got to be landing takedowns, right? So theoretically, you know, he should have opportunities to potentially sub. We saw the Bontorin fight where he got backpacked in terms of France for, 4 minutes or so. I believe France has been actually subbed in 3 of his 9 pro losses. So it's not as if we don't have any sample size of him not getting subbed. He has been subbed before. And so, yeah, I think obviously once again, for Askarov to maximize that win equity, it's going to come on the ground. So I do think he's going to have opportunities to sub. I will actually play somewhat slight contrarian though, in terms of France, of him being a hitter. I actually do kind of think he is a bigger hitter, at least in recent years, knocking dudes out for sure. But he even has multiple UFC knockdowns prior to that. I do think the guy does pack a punch at flyweight personally. And if you told me that this was a 15-minute kickboxing match, Askarov is not minus 400. He's not 80% in that matchup at all, to be completely honest. So I don't hate on anybody taking the shot on France by knockout, but the problem is it's one of those fights. I just don't know how long the fight's going to get spaced. I mean, we just saw Askarov go out there and control Joseph Benavidez for a full round. We can say what we want about Joseph Benavidez at this point. I get it. But the dude's pretty much been impossible to hold down throughout his career. Even if somebody's washed, the things that are going from those guys is their durability, their hand speed, not their defensive wrestling and not their defensive grappling. So for Askarov to go out there and control a guy like Joseph Benavidez for over a round, that's pretty impressive to me and speaks to what his actual wrestling acumen is in terms of general control too. So Askarov sub plus 360 is my recommendation.
All right, guys, it's going to be a scary night because we're on the same exact Lambo plays way too much. I mean, I'm being real here. Like, people, this line, this plus 360 line is way off to me. And I'll tell you guys why. And here's the reason why I think it's plus 360. Askarov has 4 fights in the UFC, all gone to decision, right? He's landed a lot of takedowns in those fights. He landed 4, I think, against Moreno. He landed a couple against Pantoja. He landed 5 against Benavidez, right? But what's the difference between Kai Kara-France and the 4 opponents that he's faced, right? 1, I think he's going to be able to get Kai Kara-France down easier than those guys, right? That's 1. 2, those guys are a million times better grapplers than Kai Kara-France is. Here's the list, guys. Brandon Moreno, Tim Elliott, Alexander Pantoja, and Joseph Benavidez. Literally, some of the best grapplers in the division, guys. This is a huge step down for him when we're talking about just grappling here, dude. He's going to have an immense advantage on the ground. And this guy, Askarov, go back and look at what kind of, this guy has anacondas, twisters. I mean, this guy's really good on the ground. It's just that he faced guys that were extremely good on the ground. He couldn't get subs. Like, they knew how to get out. They knew how to stand up. I just honestly think Kai Kara-France is screwed in this fight. He's going to get taken down, and the sub's going to happen. Plus 360, give me that line all day and night. I love that play. I think it's happening in this fight with Askarov. So that's another one that we all agree on. With that being said, we will move on. It is fight number 11. It is the immortal Matt Brown going up against Brian Barbarena. I'll give this one off to you, Luke. What do you got here?
Yeah, this is probably one of the favorite ones I'm going to give off. Not necessarily, it's not the biggest line in the world, but one I think possesses a lot of value. Bar by KO at plus 380 just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally. Um, the general like flipping of this line kind of is just weird considering the fact that the line is a pick 'em, but Matt Brown inside the distance is like plus 170 and Bar by KO is plus 380. I don't get it at at all. I mean, Matt Brown's 41 years old. I don't buy this durable narrative from him. He's been knocked out in 3 of his last 4 losses. I think both these guys are going to slug it out on the feet. Matt Brown only defends strikes at 55%. He's been KO'd once again in 3 of his last 4 losses. Barb also has a 63% KO rate in his W's and has hurt opponents in multiple other fights that he wasn't able to finish in. And I think where also some context is being lost is because Matt Brown's fought a bit more intelligently in terms of the wrestling or fighting a bit slower paced on the feet. Barbarena is the exact archetype to bring that like old junkyard dog Matt Brown back out of him. This fight is in Ohio, in Matt Brown's native state. He's, like I said, he's 41 years old. He doesn't have too much left on the rap sheet. I think these boys are going to go out there and swing. And if you're telling me that Barbarena is plus 380 in a swinging contest against a 41-year-old, I don't fucking get it at all. That makes no sense to me. I love Barb by KO at plus 380.
All right. Well, I'm gonna one up you, Luke, here. Kind of agree with a lot of your sentiment. I do think obviously Matt Brown is live very early for KO because the guy packs a lot of power, elbows, you name it. I mean, the guy's really dangerous early, but the guy tends to fade. I mean, whether you want to say, lately, don't give me that lately because the guy is 41 years old. Like, if there's anything going from this guy, it's probably his cardio, it's probably his chin, it's probably those kind of things, right? So, with that being said, Brian Barbarena has, I believe, 3 third-round stoppages where he stopped people, right? Matt Brown has been finished in a 3rd round. Matt Brown does not have the same cardio Brian Barbarena has. If what Luke said happens and he goes out and starts swinging and does all that crazy shit and he doesn't get the knockout or he doesn't get Barbarena out of there, guess what? That 2nd and 3rd round props for Barbarena are going to be very live. And for me, I took a shot on the 3rd round KO prop at plus 1,500. He's going to just be the fresher guy. Last fight, it wasn't a great look for Barbarena. It wasn't a great look when he faced Jason Witt. I agree. Those were terrible looks for him. But, I mean, those were high-paced fights, a lot of grappling going on, especially with the Darian Weeks fight. And in that 3rd round, he fucking hurt Darian Weeks. He was kept coming forward, threw big winging punches. Like, if he does that and he lands on Matt Brown, like, Matt Brown's cardio is going to look like shit in the 3rd round. I'll tell you that right now. So, getting that big plus 1,500, I'm just going to have to go with that and Brian Barbarena. But as far as the side's concerned, I really don't like anyone here. Tim, what do you like?
All right, we have some dissension amongst the crew here. I'll take the Matt Brown KO 1-2 at plus 210. Yeah, the Witt fight for me with Barbarena was just a huge red flag. I mean, a bunch of pre Luque. I understand he's like a minute away from beating Luque, but he didn't, and he got killed and broken, and then he fought Brown and got even more broken. And this is just one of those situations where, like, what you're going to get out of Brown, and he's going to go after him. And I think that, if he gets the same shot on him or shots on him that Witt got on him, I think he's going to finish him. So I like the KO 1-2 at plus 210. I do think that the KO line on certain guys, certain fighters this week is just their trap lines. I think you should just bet people inside the distance. Matt Brown is one. If you're betting Fiorot, she's another one. They're like 20 cents different on inside the distance props than the KO props. So don't go on KO if you're getting on those guys. Look into the lines. So
yeah, that's great point. Great point.
Yeah,
sorry,
I bet him inside the distance a little bit too for Matt Brown at plus 150, and then I like the KO 1-2 at plus 210. It's a scooter play. But.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to give the scooter and the Toyota Corolla plays. That's okay. We're gonna have to accept them. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. Matt Brown has a ton of power early. He's really dangerous early. Barbarena historically has been very durable, and most of his I believe like KOs and stoppages have been late in fights, like never early. So something's got to give here. So we'll see. Moving on, it is a fight. It is actually the main event here. It is Joanne Calderwood going up against Alexa Grasso. I'll kick this one off. I have a little bit of a sneaky play here. My sneaky play is Grasso by submission plus 1,200. You know what? She doesn't have any submissions, I think, in her career. 13 wins. I don't think she has any submissions. But Joanne Calderwood's been submitted a good amount of times. I know those are good grapplers. I get it. But what Alexa Grasso showed me last fight against Macy Barber was pretty impressive on the ground. She almost had Macy Barber in I believe it was an arm triangle. She looked really good on the ground. Like, I think if this fight hits the ground, like, she's the better grappler. If it stays standing, I think she's the better striker. But I will give the volume edge to Wood. Like, Wood throws a ton. I don't think Wood's ever been outstruck. Maybe one or two fights, but like, she, even in her losses, like, she's outstriking everybody. She throws a ton of volume. Albeit, it's not a lot of power or whatever, but I just think, Grasso, if she gets this fight to the ground or Wood decides to grapple or does anything like that, I think the sub is very live for her. And it's a huge number at plus 1,200. So for me, the play here is going to be Grasso by submission plus 1,200. I have a little pop on it. And yeah, Tim, what do you got?
I love it. I also took a little stab at that, a quarter unit stab on that one. I also like the Grasso round 3, 18-1. And I like the Wood by split at 14-1 because that one I don't understand at all. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't think that Wood wins, but if she wins, it's going to be by a greasy ass split decision. No question about it. Like, just no question. She's not going to finish her, and she's just going to outpoint her and just, like you said, maybe land 30 to 35 more completely insignificant strikes, and and she's going to steal the judge or steal two judges. So like this is one of those situations where you're looking at a points for Wood is like plus 300 or something like that. And then you go to split decision is 14-1. These lines make no sense. So I bet that one, and I bet the Grasso by round 3, 18-1. And I also did the same one as you, the sub at 12-1. Cause I don't know. I don't think the fight hits the ground, but maybe Wood does try to shoot the takedown and try to take her down if she's getting pieced up a little bit. And she does average, I think, like 1.5 takedowns per fight. So, if she does get it to the ground, this is a situation where 12-1 seems asinine to me. So, yeah, I'm on all those. I love them.
Awesome. Alexa Grasso, like, honestly, that loss to Carla Esparza has fucking, majority decision in a really close fight has marinated real well for her. Luke, what do you got here?
I'm going Grasso by knockout at plus 700. Obviously, she's never KO'd anyone. Wood's never been finished with strike. So definitely a bit of a ledge play there. But I think at this point, we know that Joanne Wood's striking defense is dog shit. She eats 4.5 significant strikes per 15 minutes, only defends at 52%. She squares her stance. She throws naked kicks. She makes no mid-fight adjustments at all. I think Alexa Grasso has turned a massive corner. I think it's a tale of two fighters in the fight. I think Alexa Grasso beats the living shit out of this girl. Not to mention the fact that Joanne Wood was dropped twice in her last fight as well. She's 36 years old. So someone who just has had the game plan of blocking punch with your face for the last 10 years of your career, I think it catches up to you at some point. So I think Grasso is sneaky alive to knock her out here because I kind of think it's honestly one-way traffic with Grasso on the feed, to be honest.
Yeah, we're in agreement. I do like Alexa Grasso a good bit here. I just think she's just the better skilled fighter here all around in general. But with that being said, guys, do me a huge favor. There is 43 of you in chat. Please hit that like. Please subscribe. It helps out the channel, helps me out, helps grow my subscriber base, which, in turn helps out just grow the channel. But with that being said, we will move on to the main event. It is Curtis Razor Blaydes going up against Chris Daukaus. Tim, kick this one off.
Yeah, I don't have a really good one for this one as well. I like Blaydes inside the distance, and I like Blaydes to get the KO in rounds 1, 2, or 3. I bet it at plus 165 early in the week. I think it's plus 125 now. I don't mind a shot on the plus 210 at rounds 2 or 3 KO. I don't think this fight sees round 4, so just think he ground and pounds him.
Awesome. Luke, what do you got?
Yeah, I wrote down Blaydes round 2 KO plus 500. 4 of his 5 stoppage wins in the UFC have come in round 2, so you do have a historic and evidentiary basis for making a potential flyer there. Coupled with, Daukaus' cardio is most likely not going to hold up in this type of a matchup, especially when Blaydes is pretty consistent to shoot early, where you got Daukaus, a guy, traditional round 1 type of guy. It just kind of comes down to, and why this one gets dicey with Curtis is because you don't know if he's going to open up or not. I think he can, and honestly just smash him. That's kind of why you're playing with fire on him, is whether he's going to open up or not, because I think he absolutely can, given some of that historic nature that I just talked about. If you were to target Daukaus, I'd say play his KO props in round 1 or 2. Round 1 KO is plus 1,500. Round 2 is plus 2,100. That is his win equity. That is what his win condition is here. So if you are to play Daukaus, I'd go that way. But if I was to get dicey, I'd go like Blaydes round 2 KO plus 500.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I looked at a stat which is pretty insane with Blaydes, and it's 9 of his 11 finishes have come in the second and third round. Only 2 have come in the first, and it's his very 2 first fights. After that, everything has been second and third round. So basically that tells me like takes people down, kind of like tires them out on top, lands some ground and pound in the first, and then basically just wears on them in the second and third and finishes them. I think the same thing is happening here, to be honest. Like, is Daukaus going to stop takedowns? No. Is Daukaus going to be able to stand up here? It's going to be very hard, man. He's going to be at a huge size disadvantage as far as weight's concerned. Like, Blaydes is a big dude. He's heavy. He's going to probably have 30, 40 pounds on Daukaus here. He's going to land takedowns. And Mbe is saying here, Blaydes never finishes anymore, right? You know what I'm going to say to that? That's called recency bias, right? Yeah, I think you're looking at what he's done lately against guys like Jairzinho Rosenstrike is hard to finish, man. The dude is tough. He's durable. He's dangerous. Then you look at a guy like Derek Lewis, again, very hard to finish. Danger. I mean, shouldn't say hard to finish, but he never shot for takedowns there, and he eventually got caught, right? Alexander Volkov, another guy, historically very, very hard to finish. He got him down plenty of times. Daukaus, we don't know. We don't know what this guy's going to look like on his back, right? This guy's never been, 5 rounds. Guy's been only 3 rounds one time. He's never fought a wrestler like Curtis Blaydes. What's going to happen when Razor Blaydes gets on top of this guy? Much bigger dude, huge elbows from, with his ground and pound. This guy has nasty ground and pound. When you watch him, I don't understand why people don't see the KO here, with the ground and pound. I clearly see it, to be honest, and I really like it here. I think Blaydes dominates. I think Blaydes takes him down. And yeah, if you're gonna play Daukaus, play that KO line, please, because I don't think he's winning a decision here. And the longer this fight goes, the more he's gonna get drowned. So I think it's probably better to play him early prop KOs, if anything. But yeah, we're all on the Blaydes side. I like the 2-3 KO. It's plus 300 on FanDuel. I really like that look there. Yeah, I mean, that about wraps up the card. A bunch of great plays. Thank you very much to my with my co-host and my guest here. Thank you very much to everybody in chat. You guys were awesome. Great show, guys. Tim, talk about what you have tomorrow and what you usually have going on, and tell all the people in chat where they can find you.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to be doing another Spaces to just, get the card going, get us prepped for our excitement tomorrow in Columbus with Tajik Bey and Sean Orr. So that'll be on Spaces tomorrow. We usually do that around 1:30. So we'll do that. We do that on Wednesdays as well. And then I'm here with you on Fridays for Lambo Plays. But going to be awesome. Thanks again, Luke, for joining. It's been great.
Awesome. I'm also actually probably going to do a live stream tomorrow on Spaces with the fights. We've been doing it the last couple of weeks. We've been having some fun, and we're also throwing in some live bets in there. So, Luke, tell them where they can find you. I also want to thank you very much for coming on and taking some time out to spend here with us. Yeah, tell them where they can find you and what you got going on.
For sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys. Twitter, SWR_betting, Patreon.com/SWR betting, bets, content, all that fun stuff. Club and Sub podcast Wednesday night, me and a round table of my boys breaking down these cards from a DraftKings perspective. I'm sorry, from a betting perspective. And on Tuesday nights, I'm with my boys, Wheezy and Brady and Monk, talking about it from a DraftKings perspective on Pub Sports Radio. That is at 7 p.m. Eastern as well. So, yeah, lots of stuff out there. You guys can check me out.
Look at that. I almost got him. Lambo parlays, please. He could not do it. He could not go without saying it.
Every week.
Catch you and you still put it on there, Mushroom. But yeah, guys, check out the Club and Sub podcast. It's great. It's John. It's Luke. It's a great podcast. I listen to it very often. It's on Wednesdays. And also, like I said, we're going to be on Spaces tomorrow live. If you guys want to join us, I'm pretty sure Tim's going to be in there. I'm going to be in there. We're going to be giving some live plays. But with that being said, let me move on and give this Lambo parlay out. My Lambo parlay will be, it's Khizriev KO plus 320. It's Rosa 2-3 KO plus 1,000. It's Griffin decision plus 500. And it's Blaydes 2-3 KO plus 300. $100 pays 110K. That's half of a Lambo right there. Tim, what do you got for your Lambo parlay?
Yeah, I will be playing that, just to let you know. I play all. Luke, I'll be playing yours as well. This is how we do it. I don't care. This is how you do it. All right. All right. So I got McMann sub 1-2. I got Magny points. I got Asker's sub. And I have Blaydes inside the distance, and it's 135-1. And then if you wanted to do the same one, but just switch the result, because I have the McMann Rosa 2-3, so you go Rosa, KO 2-3, Magny points, Asker sub, Blaydes inside the distance, and it goes to like 128-1. So I absolutely love both of those.
That's another huge one. Luke, what do you got for the people here? You teased them on Twitter, so you better give it to them here.
All right, boys, here's the big one. Here's the big one. All right, we're going 8 legs. 8 legs here, boys.
Oh, boy.
We're going.
Only 8? All right.
Alexa Grasso by points. The Barbarena Brown fight ends by knockout. Gutierrez by decision. Fiorot
Hold on, slow down.
decision.
We're writing this. We're writing it. Wait up.
Oh
right,
shit. Well, I didn't know you guys were writing it.
Yeah. How are the people going to write this play? They want to play it. So Barbarena, who is it? Barbarena what?
Ends in
All
KO.
right, so Grasso points.
Yep.
Barb Brown ends by knockout.
Okay.
Gutierrez by points.
Okay.
Fiorot by points.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Man and Fiorot by points.
Dvorak by points. Khizriev in rounds 1 or 2. Rosa by KO in rounds 2 or 3. Daukaus Blaydes ends by knockout. So that's 8 legs, $100 to win 100K on FanDuel.
I like it, and I'm playing it. Listen, you have to play that, because if it hits, you're going to kill yourself because you didn't play it.
Oh, I'm going to fucking play it.
Awesome, man. It is a great show. Some great Lambo parlays. I'm playing all of them. Thank you again to everybody in chat. Without you guys, we could not have the show here. So thank you very much. Thank you to my guest, Luke, and my co-host, Tim. Yeah, guys, just let's cash some tickets tomorrow. Take care.